Alrighty, guys. I think it's time. I think it's time for more Premier Draft Dominaria. Let's begin. If this software will let me load it, that is. Alright, let's get this started. Alright, Dominaria Premier Draft. What do we have to find? Pleasure of opening. Pack 1, pick 1. We did open up Kazarov, a pretty excellent black-red gold card. You can only splash Kazarov, of course, but you primarily want to play him in black-red for his activated ability, so it does come at a bit of a commitment. There's Goblin Barrage as an excellent red removal spell for 4 mana, dealing 4 damage to target player or planeswalkers. Quite excellent. Skizzic's okay. 5 mana, 5/3 trample haste is fine if you're looking to be aggressive. And looking at the commons, Cloud Reader Sphinx stands out as the best of them, and then Mesa Unicorn in white. So really, I think there's only 3 options to choose from. Kazarov, Goblin Barrage, or Cloud Reader Sphinx. I think it's best to start with a single color card instead of forcing Kazarov right away. Kazarov is very good, but he is 7 mana. And between Goblin Barrage and Cloud Reader Sphinx, I think I'm leaning toward Cloud Reader Sphinx, given that blue is the best color in this set, and overall, just a powerful late game threat that you can deploy. You want to have more threats than answers in this set, since removal does come in an abundance, so I will begin with a Cloud Reader Sphinx. Followed up by the Cloud Reader Sphinx, we do have some pretty interesting options too. We can move into some blue-white aggressive historic deck with Pegasus Courser. We can move into blue-red wizards with a G2 Chronicler, or we can keep our options open and take a Skittering Surveyor as an excellent common that can help you fix your land drops, splash for the Cloud Reader Sphinx, or splash for any other alternative colors. I think Tetsuko's okay. She's a decent way to get in small chunks of damage, but not really something you really want to build around in this set. So between these 3 cards, I think I'm going to keep my options open and take a Skittering Surveyor. Overall, this pack is not super amazing. There's some excellent commons like these 2, but there's nothing really that stands out. The person to our right seemed to have taken the rare as the best card in the pack. But here we're just going to take a Skittering Surveyor, keep our options open, I think. I don't think we want to commit to an archetype yet until we know what signs are being passed to us. So we'll take it here. Followed up by the Skittering Surveyor, we have a Grun, the Lonely King. I don't hate this card. I think it's pretty solid. I think he is kind of overrated in a sense, because 6 mana for 5/5. I mean, 6 mana is a lot. However, once Grun comes down and he can constantly keep attacking, I mean, the opponent will eventually have to just throw creatures in front of it. So it's a nice card in the late game, or when your opponent is behind on creatures and bored, Grun can just start swinging in and just killing off creatures. The problem is that he doesn't have trample, but I still think he's a pretty good card. Alternatively, if I want to take a common out of the pack, I have a choice between Aven Sentry, Akami Drake, or Jousting Lance, which are all fine cards, but Grun is by far the best card in his pack. I think we're gonna take Grun and maybe end up drafting green and throw in a bit of ramp to ramp out Grun as early as possible. And here, there's another Skittering Surveyor being passed to us. Alternatively, there is a Fiery Intervention and Deathbloom Thal that's still in the pack. Both really good commons. Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to take a second Skittering Surveyor. A first one should be fine, but I don't know if I'm going to splash pretty hard here. So between these 2, I guess I'll just take the removal spell. Really, there's really no amazing crazy signals being sent to us to know what's for sure being open. Like the person to our right could just be drafting red and had to pacify intervention for a better card. So I guess I'll just take it. I mean, and just stay as open as possible and see what signals are open in the future pack, the next pack or something. But right now, it's just simply just we're just trying to pick the best card, and here the best card here is by far Sapperling Migration. Being past a Grunt, I guess, is a sign, as the best card is a sign that green is open, so maybe I can direct green as my primary color, and Sapperling Migration is arguably the best green common in this set. Green wants to go wide in this set. They have a lot of Sapperling synergies, and the fact that this has kicker is nice if you're drafting a red-green kicker deck. So I think I'll take a Sapperling Migration. And now I can follow up with a Yavimaya Sappered. Okay, so I think I found my primary color being green. I don't know what my secondary color is, but we're definitely going to try to draft a nice green go wide deck with a Grun as a nice late game finisher, or I can take a Thorn Elemental as a nice late game finisher. I mean, besides that, I'm not passing out on much in this pack, I don't think. Thorn Elemental is a nice, powerful threat. It is really expensive, so we do need to prioritize hitting our land drops, so I'm happy picking up the Skirring Surveyor. And we do need to prioritize on ramping, so cards like Grow from the Ashes, Line of War Elves, Elfhame Druid will definitely go up in value, so we'll be drafting a nice green ramp deck. Here I could just take another Yavimaya Sappered. Alternatively, there is a Memorial to Unity to help fix my land slots. Or there's a Hinterland Harbor if I want to splash the Cloud Reader Sphinx. Pretty interesting pack. I mean, I don't know if I'm committed to splashing blue yet. The Memorial to Unity can be fine in the late game. I mean, I guess I'll just take one now as a fine land slot upgrade. It's always decent to pick one of these up. Especially later. Now I have a choice between Mesa Unicorn and Skizik. I don't know if I'm going to be a red-green kicker deck. Skizik is quite expensive for 5 mana, and I do need to beat a very hyper-aggressive red deck. Here I could just take a Mesa Unicorn. I think it's a pretty excellent 2-drop if we do end up in the white-green tokens deck. It's nice to have a nice lifelink creature that can start connecting. Otherwise, Skizik would be fine, but I don't know if I want to play another expensive card in this deck. And I don't mind taking a Memorial to Glory, just like I just took the Memorial to Unity. We could be white, green go wide, and it's nice to have a land that you can sacrifice to create 1/1s. And I'm fine playing 2-tap lands in these types of decks. So I'll take the Memorial to Unity. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind a main deck Pierce the Sky, since green can sometimes be soft to flyers. Not a big fan of Gaia's Protector. I guess if we assembled the Arcane Flight plan, we can attach it to Grun, Thorn Elemental, or a Snapping Turtle, so I don't mind taking Arcane Flight. And Arbor Armaments, fine card, but I don't think I want to take it unless I don't have enough defense against flyers. So there you have it, first pack. It seems like we're going to be committed to green. We don't know what our second color is, though, so it's always good to stay open, so let's move on. Alright, Helm of the Host is a busted card. Yeah, I mean, it is expensive. 4 mana to play this, 5 mana to equip. But hey, once you equip this onto a creature, you can just constantly generate tokens, you can constantly attack, and it can just get out of hand. Of course, there's Fire Intervention in this set that can answer, but it takes a very specific card. So I don't mind taking a Helm of the Host, and we definitely need ramp as our priority. Otherwise, if Helm of the Host was in this pack, I think I would take a Shivan Fire here as the best common. There's also Calico Skin Witch, which is quite an excellent common too. Valduke is good, but you do need to be in a dedicated Aura's equipment deck. I'll just take a Helm of the Host as a busted rare. There's Adeliz. Adeliz is very good, but we gotta take the Land of War Elves here. Adeliz is more of a blue-red Wizards deck card. If Adeliz was in this pack, I think I would probably take a Fungal Infection. But here we'll just take a Land War Elves. We desperately need ramp to cast our expensive finishers like Grun, Thorn Elemental, and we also need to equip the Helm of the Host eventually, and then or maybe even sack our lands, and Land War Elves just helps us out with that. Okay, well there's another Cloud Reader Sphinx being passed. We have one already. There's a bunch of good black cards too, a Thallid Soothsayer and a Calico Skin Witch. I do like Thallid Soothsayer in the black-green Sapperlings deck, and this is a lot of black cards being passed to us. I mean, we didn't see a lot of blue in the first pack. We also didn't see any amazing black. But I mean, I could take the second Cloud Reader Sphinx, but maybe if I take a second one, then I'm committed to blue as my secondary color, and it won't allow me to open myself to a splash. So here, I think I'm just going to take a Thallid Soothsayer as a great card that goes in a black-green Saprolings deck. Caligo Skin Witch would also be quite excellent as a good 2-drop in any black control deck, but I think with the amount of Saprolings we have, we just want to take a Thallid Soothsayer here. And, well, I do like myself an Helm Druid. I'm quite happy that I took it here. Alternatively, there's another Land of War Elves, but Elflame Druid is just better, especially since it can give our extra kicker cards the extra ramp it needs. So it's nice to have a turn 1 Land War Elves into Elflame Druid. Otherwise, I would just probably just snatch up the Land War Elves, but more ramp is always good, so we'll take an Elflame Druid. Nothing amazing. There's Urza's Tome if I want to be more controlling and it helps me loot in the late game. I can take a mediocre 2-drop like the Corrosive Ooze. Alternatively, I can just take a good 4-drop here. Like maybe if I end up in white-green, go wide, I wouldn't mind an Aven Sentry as a fine flyer that can connect. So we'll take an Aven Sentry. Ooh, a Halar. Okay, I guess we can maybe splash Halar, or maybe we can just draft a red-green kicker deck and splash like either Cloud Reader Sphinx or Mesa Unicorn. But this is definitely a sign that the red-green kicker deck is open, so I might want to keep this Fiery Intervention in the main board. But yeah, we'll take a Halar, pretty powerful card. Yeah, just kick spells, grow the Halar, it deals damage to the opponent's face. Seems good. And here we'll just take an Ancient Animus. Alternatively, there is a Mammoth Spider for us. I think I just gotta take the removal spell. We are lacking removal. It's not an amazing fight spell, but sometimes it gets the job done. And it is the removal spell in green. And yeah, we still got our Mammoth Spider anyway, so I'm quite happy about that. Don't want to play maybe... I'm fine with 2 copies of Mammoth Spider, but usually one is fine, so we don't need to put a high emphasis. And that is definitely a late Deathloom Thallid, which does play well with our black-green Saprolings plan, if that's the case. So we'll snatch it up here. I mean, red could still be more open. I mean, there's a Warcry Phoenix if I want to be more aggressive. Not a card I want in like a rampy deck, but I wouldn't mind playing it if I'm lacking playables, so... I guess we're just going to put all of our colors to our side. And we still don't know what we are yet. I do want to play maybe Halar or black-green Saprolings, but the next pack is really going to determine where we're going to be. Since the last pack, the final pack, everyone needs to pick up as many good playables that they can find in their decks. So, I don't know. Black-green could be open. Green-red. Green-blue. But the final pack will most likely determine where we're going to be, because that is going to be a huge signal, since everyone's going to try to pick up as many playables as they can. But we know we're for sure green. We don't know what our secondary color is. Might even play as Corrosive Ooze if I don't have enough good 2-drops. So we'll see. Here, I can just take another Halar, or I can just take another Land of War Elves. Blessed Light is also excellent. Same with Akami Journey Mage. If I'm the only red-green drafter, then this Halar will wheel. So I think I'm just going to take a Land of War Elves, since it's more of what we need. We need to ramp into our big late-game cards. And if we do add them to red-green, having some more ramp to help kick is nice. It's always nice to have a lot of ramp in these types of deck. So maybe we don't have to run 18 lands. And 16 or 17 can be fine in one of these decks. Ooh, that is a fight with fire being passed to me. Okay. And we just took a Halar. I mean, Land War Elves is good, but we do have double Land Dwarves and Elflame Druid to help us splash. Alternatively, there is a Akami Journey Mage, but we don't have too many focused Wizard synergy. So I think I'll just take a fight with fire. Maybe we can end up in a nice red-green kicker deck, and we do have enough ramp to maybe get to 9 mana. And usually when you kick this on turn 9, you essentially just win the game. So hopefully we end up drafting red-green, because I do like fight with fire a lot. Now, as I say that, there's no good red-green cards. There's a Blink of an Eye as the best card in this pack. Alternatively, there is a Blood Tallow Candle. I don't really want to splash a Blink of an Eye, but, I mean, I guess I just take it. I mean, I don't really want a Blood Tallow Candle in this deck, and there's a chance we could end up in blue-green. I don't know. We'll just take a Blink of an Eye. Still keep our options open, and now I think we are in red-green kicker. That's a Grand Warlord Rada, so hopefully the Halar can wheel, but I'm quite happy and they playing red-green kicker in this deck and maybe splashing for another color. So now we know our color. Maybe hopefully this Baloth Gorger can I don't know, can make the cut, but here we're going to take a Grand Lord Warlord Rada as an excellent 4-drop that can help us ramp. And now we'll just take a Baloth Gorger, I think. I don't think we have any things that reward us for going wide. We just want to ramp our giant to large creatures and kicker spells, and Baloth Gorger is definitely an excellent target. So I'm glad that picked up all stuck with green, and now I know where we're at. We're just looking to cast our Baloth Gorgers and giant creatures. Could consider Garner for ramp, but Saproling Migration is always an excellent 2-drop to kick. Keeps us on color. We don't have to splash for Garner. Garner is very good though, but we just don't. With one Skittering Surveyor, we don't know if we really need to splash. And I don't mind taking a second Mammoth Spider. Alternatively, I could just take a Partic Wanderer, but we are kind of looking soft to flyer, so we might main deck 2 Mammoth Spiders and even a removal spell. Here, I guess I don't mind triple Land War Envoy. I mean Land War Elves, and maybe we can end up splashing blue or something. Alternatively, there is Garna that I could consider, but I don't have any dual lands for her. So I'll take another Land War Elves. We'll just keep casting them. And Halara looks excellent here. How many kicker spells do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 kicker spells. So not a lot of kicker spells, but Halara is definitely still very excellent. Maybe we can main deck a Gift of Growth just to provide us the extra kicker spell that we need, which I also don't mind. I guess I'll play. I don't really want to play Keldon Warcaller, but if we're lacking playables, I'll just keep one. And now this is 23 cards. I could consider main decking actually. Yeah, I don't really need Land War Scout. We have enough ramp. I might consider actually main decking a Pierce the Sky in this deck. And play double Mana Spires. I can even go 16 lands with all this ramp. It's not insane to imagine. So kind of our win cons are just trying to ramp into our late game big drops or assemble Helm of the Host. Or kick Fight with Fire with all these creatures on the battlefield. Alternatively, I could run a 17 land deck and essentially just cut a Keldon Raider, Keldon Warcaller, which doesn't look particularly exciting in this deck. So we are kind of lacking removal. So I think I don't mind main decking a Pierce the Sky and actually a Gift of Growth as an extra kicker spell. I think I'm definitely gonna run the Memorial to Unity. The question is, do I go 16 lands? It's not insane. I mean, going 16 isn't insane. I mean, we do have 2 of these really expensive cards, but with the Land War Elves ramping us to our goal, and we even have a Skittering Surveyor to find lands. It's not unreasonable to actually go 16 lands in this type of deck. We're definitely going to favor green more, so maybe we can ditch a mountain. And if we end up like 9-7 with all these Land War Elves just helping us ramp into our kicker spells, then we're good. I mean, the only 2 expensive cards are these 2, and then, I mean, I guess Fire Intervention for 5. This is going to be kicked at 9, but it's still a 3 mana removal. And this is going to be kicked at 4. So I mean, our curve is relatively low for like a very rampy red-green kicker deck. Looking at the creature count, we are running 16 creatures as well. I could also consider the War Cry Phoenix. Maybe kind of have some. Maybe we need some alternate angle of attack, and we need to place a flyer on the battlefield to just get through. And if I'm going to play the Warcry Phoenix, I can just cut something bad like, I don't know, the Keldon Warcaller. I mean, 2 drops are important, of course, in the deck, but our deck is just really looking to ramp in the early game. We're not really looking to be aggressive, so we don't really value things like Keldon Warcaller or Corrosive Ooze that highly. At the very least, they're going to be 2-drop blockers, but we're going to be ramping out into our large creatures pretty fast that these Keldon Warcallers won't do much for us. I can also consider running 17 lands in the splash. I could cut the Corrosive Ooze, add in the Cloud Reader Sphinx, and maybe cut something else. But I don't really want to cut anything else. I do think we need to main deck a Pierce the Sky and Gift of Strength, given our lack of removal. So I think we can try something out like this. And with 16 lands, we're fine. Arbor Armaments is just a Pierce the Sky, except a little bit worse. I mean, yeah, we could splash for Cloud Reader Sphinx. But I think we have enough win conditions already, like the Helm of the Host, and these 2 cards. maybe Warcry Phoenix can chip in some damage, and then if it dies, we can just go wide with our creatures, get in a nice attack, repay the 2 generic and red, and then constantly bring them back. So I think this deck is good. I think we can run 16 lands given that the amount of ramp we have, and we can go something like 9/7 given that we're not really a heavy red deck. The only double red card is actually the Fight with Fire where we kick on turn 9. So I think we're going to try something like this. This seems pretty interesting. So I probably need to rewatch this draft again to see what I took. I know there was a Shivan Fire I passed up. Maybe I took a Land War Elves over it. Or I took Helm. Yeah, I took Helm of the Host over it, I think, and that's the correct pick. Helm of the Host is completely absurd and busted. So we'll try this deck out. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Actually, we need to change the picture, of course. To Grand Warlord Rada, of course. I'm also thinking maybe we could run. I don't know if 16 lands and a splash. I don't know if cutting a forest for a blue, adding in a Cloud Reader Sphinx, and cutting the Corrosive Ooze is worth it. Is that too ambitious? Cloud Reader Sphinx is really good. And if that's the case, I might as well cut the Memorial to Unity because it's quite expensive. Maybe it's too ambitious splashing for a Cloud Reader Sphinx. It is a good card, but maybe Memorial to Unity could be better to help us find our late game creatures. So we'll see. So this deck could have Goblin Barrage over Cloud Reader Sphinx, pack 1, pick 1. But I think Sphinx is still a better card. I mean, it's more important to have a lot of threats in your deck than answers. And I kind of took the gamble that since this set is full of removal, I didn't really want to prioritize a removal spell, but take the best card in the best color, and the best card in the best color in that pack, which was the Cloud Reader Sphinx. Alright, so now what do we have? Opening hand. We don't have any ramp. We do have a 2-drop and a 3-drop and a 3-drop. I don't hate this. I think I'll keep. I mean, it's not a very impressive hand. I do prefer to have my Land War Elves on turn 1 to help me ramp. But we are running 16 lands, of course, so... And here's our Land War Elves, so I'm quite happy to see on turn 1. Always an excellent card to start the draft with. I mean, to start turn 1 with, to scare the opponent off. Now Honor Guard, okay. So here we're just going to play our red. Do I just cast a Halar? I don't really want Halar to die, but he is a good blocker on a 2/2. But he probably won't use removal this early. We're just going to play Halar, I think. He just has a good blocker and a good attacker. He could run into Gideon's Reproach if he keeps his mana up. Alternatively, he could use a Deep Freeze onto Halar. This attack is suspicious. It does imply a Gideon's Reproach, so we're just going to take it. Hopefully he taps out a white and we can swing back for 3 next turn. So this does imply Gideon's Reproach. So I'm not going to attack into this. I think it's absurd. I'll definitely play out Yavimaya Shepherd and stay back. Alternatively, I could just attack for 1. And maybe bait it out. But I do want to ramp out my Mammoth Spire, so probably no attacks. It's a pretty strange attack. It's pretty strange keeping up all his mana open. So that does imply like he does have a trick. So here, we could play around Syncopate as well. So we could play Skittering Surveyor into Corrosive Ooze. I think I'm going to move the attacks. I'm going to attack with the 2/2. Yeah, this is strange. Yeah, he's probably keeping up the Gideon's Reproach. So here we're just going to cast a Skittering Surveyor to play around Syncopate. We can get our land source, which is really cool. We'll just get another, doesn't matter. We already have double red for the kicker fight spell. We don't even need red. We'll just play out the Corrosive Ooze and start punishing him with 2/2s. Yeah, I think he's keeping up the Gideon's Reproach. I mean, this is just really strange how he's keeping up all the mana this whole entire time. So now we can play around. Ooh, there's Helm of the Host. He can only syncopate for 4, but he could still keep up a Wizard's Retort. So I think I'm going to move the attacks. I'm just going to attack with the 2/2s here. Next turn we could attack with Mammoth Spider. Let's see what happens. He goes for the trade. I guess I'll just play my Mammoth Spider. I don't need to be greedy and play out the Helm of the Host. He could syncopate for 4, and that will counter it, but who cares? I'd rather have this get countered than the Helm of the Host. There we go. So gotta play around the counter spells here. And hopefully he taps out. Call the Cavalry, okay. So now we can play Helm of the Host, or can we kick Run? No, we can't really kick Run. We could play around Gideon's Reproach still, but yeah, I guess I'd rather play the Run because it's more mana efficient. Although he could have a Syncopate again, so maybe we just play out the Helm of the Host, and then he can't counter that, and then we'll just pass the turn, and then eventually we're just gonna equip on the Yavimai Sapper, and that's just gonna generate a million tokens, or we can equip onto the Skittering Surveyor to get a bunch of lands from our deck. Really depends. Academy Journey Mage, probably bouncing my Halar, that's fine. I'm not going to die by taking 4 damage. I could double block here, which is always a decent sign. Like, next turn we can just equip Helm of the Host and just go off. Or I can just take 4. But maybe doing a double block here is fine. I mean, I could equip Helm on the Skittering Surveyor, of course. But maybe I just take 4. I mean, this can thin my deck out. So maybe I just take 4. I probably don't want to block. And then I can equip Helm onto Yavimai Sapper. That can just go off and make a bunch of Sapperlings. There's really no need for me to do anything here. I'm just going to keep going off and making Sapperlings, and then I can block the 2/2s all day. I can also just trade off my Yavimai Sapperds. Well, we can just pierce the sky on that, so easy answer. We'll just cast Pierce the Sky just to get rid of it, and he doesn't have any mana to do anything else. And then we're just going to recast Halar, and then we're just going to keep going off of our Sapperds. I can also attack with one of them, so that doesn't hurt. And there we go, that just prompts a concession, okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, well, there's no turn 1 Land of War Elf, so I'm actually not. This keep is actually pretty sketchy. If I can draw a Land of War Elves, I'd be pretty happy, but I think we have to bond this. This doesn't look good. Alright, this also does not look great. So I think we're keeping this. The question is, do we want the Thorn Elemental? We probably have enough win conditions, we don't need the Thorn Elemental. It could just be too expensive for us. I'm going to regret this if I find ramp, though. So I could bomb the Fire Intervention, although we don't have a lot of removal. So, or I can get even more greedy and just bomb the land. I think that's just too greedy. We're just going to keep this and lead with Mountain. That kind of sucks. I do want my Thorn Elemental as a powerful win condition, but here we go. We have Helm of the Host, the most broken card in the entire set. I mean, I guess what's his face? I guess Karn and Teferi are the most broken cards. I mean, Karn is just nothing but draw a card every single turn, which is insane. Here we're just gonna stay back. There's no reason to do anything. I could bring out Garna, attack, but he can probably just double block one of our creatures. So I think we're just gonna play out the Helm of the Host, and then if we can equip it on turn 5 onto one of our creatures, we just win the game essentially. So no attacks here. No reason to attack. Fine taking 3 here. Yeah, Ancient Animus, sure. I mean, he 2-for-1s himself, so I'm fine with this. If he wants a 2-for-1, that's okay. Hopefully there's no Syncopate for 1. So I guess I have to cast Garna. This could be a Syncopate for one. It does happen. I mean, yeah. We still have removal. We have enough creatures to equip on this Helm of the Host, so we should be fine, and we're only taking 2 per turn. He had the 2-for-1 himself with the Ancient Animus, otherwise I could just equip the Helm and make a bunch of creatures. Jousting Lance is annoying. I could Fire Intervention to destroy that Lance. Now what I can do is I can play the land and actually destroy it, so I think I'll destroy the Lance because it's going to be more annoying than later. And I'm fine just taking 3 for now. Opponent's also low on cards. Crows and Druid, okay. I just need some creatures off the top. Like a Land War Elf, but that's not a good one. So I'll be taking a lot. Alternatively, I can just use Fight with Fire on one of his creatures. So I'll be taking 5 next turn down to 8. I'll give it another turn. If nothing happens, we'll just equip the Helm of the Host on the Land War Elves and maybe double block the Scattering Surveyor if he decides to attack. And he could just be holding off onto a better creature, so I don't really want to do anything here. I mean, I guess I could just make a million Land War Elves and kick a Fight with Fire and win the game. That's another alternate thing to do. So I could equip and start making nothing but Land War Elves, maybe double block the 1/1. Then I would still wouldn't have enough mana next turn. Alternatively, I could just play again the Warcry Phoenix, trade for the 2/2, essentially, or take 2. This is pretty interesting. Do I really want to go down to 4? If he has removal, that's gonna suck. Guess I can just make a million Warcry Phoenixes next turn if I don't need to trade, so we'll just pass. Opponent probably wants to trade here, given the fact that, I guess he didn't find a creature. Do I take 4? It's pretty sketchy. I could block the 2/2, fight the 1/2, and then equip the Helm and make a bunch of Land War Elves. Alternatively, I can just take 4, equip the Helm next turn for 5. Hopefully I have enough mana to cast the Ancient Animus. This is sketchy. I think I'm just gonna let it happen. I think we're fine. So we're down to 4. This is really sketchy. We'll just pass. Here we're just gonna play land, equip the Helm of the Host onto. Equip the Helm of the Host onto the Warcry Phoenix and just keep generating them. And then we're just gonna move to combat, make another one. No attacks. We're just gonna stay back. We can also just double block and fight as well. We can. I guess I don't mind double blocking the Crows and Druid here. Probably as a removal spell. That sucks. Okay. Guess the fight happens. There's nothing I can do, but my 1/1 can trade off for the 2/1, which isn't bad. And we can just take 2 from the Untamed Kavu. So what I can do now is I can move the blocks. I can block here, and I can use Ancient Animus, the 2/2, to fight his 1/2. Not very efficient turn of events, but I think we have to do this just to put more creatures with the Helm of the Host and essentially just go off. So I guess I don't mind just. Yeah, we just need to equip here. And next turn we can equip back onto the Land War Elves and then eventually get enough mana for a fight to fight with fire, so. Or we can just assemble a bunch of flyers and just swing in, which also doesn't hurt. Grun. Grun is quite scary. I can just kill Grun. How much mana is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I just need one more land, so I could put Helm of the Host onto the Land War Elves chump. and then kick a fight with fire next turn. I don't know how crazy that is. Could be worth it. Just have a fight kick with fire. To just have a kick fight with fire. I'm going to try this. It's a little bit risky, but I think it's worth doing. And then we can chump with the 2/2 flyer, and maybe trade off for 2/2, or even just chump with the Land War Elf. There's no tricks that give trample, so I'm going to block with 2/2. And then we should have mana to kick a fight with fire this turn. And then I don't think there's any haste creatures in blue or green, so we're just going to keep swinging in. And then we can also bring back our original Warcry Phoenix. So, I mean, we're just going to win the game outright, essentially. So, yeah, let's just equip here. Guess I don't mind just playing a Scaring Surveyor to get our land drop. To just thin the deck out for more lands. Alternatively, I could just get back our Warcry Phoenix. But we're just going to keep making Warcry Phoenixes anyway, so he's essentially just dead. Helm of the Host is just a broken card. Fungal Plots can make a bunch of 1/1s, but who cares? We can just swing all out in the air. I mean, we have 6 power in the air. He doesn't need to sacrifice a bunch of Saprolings to stay alive. I think we have enough for lethal, right? I mean, we can just cast the other Warcry Phoenix from the graveyard. That's essentially just enough damage. So we're just gonna move the attacks. Attack with all. And we can even play a Mammoth Spider, so he's essentially just dead. Helm of the Host is a busted card, so I mean, as long as you draw it, you win. So. Alright. I guess the 20 gems mean that we are close to finishing our collection of Dominaria, which I'm happy with. Alright. Well, we do have an Elfame Druid on turn 2. I can't deny that. Okay, we're keeping. We're on a draw. We get an extra draw step so we can hit even more lands. Or we're going to leave an Elfame Druid into Halar or perhaps Grand Warlord Rada. Opponent's also in the red-green kicker deck, but he does have a good 2-drop that can kick pretty well with his game plan. We just need to rely on our late-game cards. Hopefully this doesn't get answered. I'm going to be pretty upset if he kills our Elfame Druid. There's definitely no reason to block here. Sheevan Fire would suck, but what can you do? But he's ramping, so that's fine with us. We just want to hit some land drops if we can, and there's a land drop. And now I could just attack in for 4 with Grand Warlord Rada. Yeah, I can't really double spell here. I'm not really kicking anything either, so I think we're just going to attack with Grand Warlord Rada. Make a mana, but who cares? We're just getting in for 3. 3 is good. Prize removal. Okay, Fire Intervention. Grand Warlord Rada would be excellent if she didn't get answered. Now I can just ramp out into my 5-drop. There's really no need to do anything else. The Mammoth Spider can hold the fort, is another nice attacker. Misha's Self-Replicator. Okay, I don't know how scary that is. It could be pretty annoying. It's just gonna make a bunch of 2/2s. He probably doesn't have a lot of historic, so maybe I could just play a Grun. Eventually Grun can just kill him off. Alternatively, I could just play out the Halar, keep up the Ancient Animus. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to kick. He just used the Fire Intervention, so how likely is it that he will have another removal? Otherwise, I do have to kick this for how much? 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's still going to take me a long time. So I probably just need to attack with a 3/5 and play out Grun. And hopefully he doesn't just go off making historic spells, and Grun can just keep chipping in. Can't kick him. And hopefully he doesn't have another fight with fire. Corrosive Ooze doesn't. We don't care about Corrosive Ooze, of course. Okay, has a fight with fire. That sucks. Well, that went as poorly as I suspected. So now what we can do is we can play out Halar. We can play out the Land War Elf. I think I'm just gonna use Halar to fight the Misha here, because he could just start going off and making 2/2s, and we don't want that. And then we can attack with the 3/5 and start chipping in. Eventually, we'll kick a fight with fire, kill his whole entire team, and win the game. I think. So we might as well just use the fight spell now before he casts a card and start going off here. Here I could just kick a Gift of Growth, so I can blow him out. So maybe I just attack with Halar, maybe prompt him to do a double block, and then we'll just kick our Gift of Growth and essentially just blow him out. Okay. And it's going to trample over for a shit ton, so I think we're in good shape. Deck is actually performing better than I expected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So one more land we can kick this fight with fire. And the funny thing is we're running 16 lands and we're able to kick this. So I guess we're just going to attack with all, not attack with all, attack with these two. Don't think there's anything he can get me with here. Yeah. Red-green kicker is not necessarily aggressive. Also need to keep in mind, you can have an aggressive red-green kicker deck. For the most part, you do want to have you want to be a more mid-ranger beat down ramp deck where you're trying to kick your large creatures and cast all your spells with kickers. But you can have an aggressive low to the ground version, of course, but I think this format does reward you for mostly kicking out large expensive creatures and casting expensive spells. Well, turn 1 Land War Elves is always excellent. We'll just keep. I don't see any problem here. We don't even need to play out the Memorial to Unity, to be honest. I mean, we can always do that next turn. I guess I can just play out Mountain, play out Skittering Surveyor. Or I can just play out Halar and be even more greedy. I mean, we have all the lands in the world, so maybe we just play out Halar and start attacking. We can also just use Halar to fight as well. To fight off the Land War Elves, so maybe gain a counter, and then we can hit him for 4, and then we can deal with this. Or he could have a more juicier target for us to fight with the Ancient Animus. But he does need to use a fight with fire on Halar. So another red-green kicker deck, okay. The question is, do we fight the Land War Elves? It is a very good card, and here he has a fight with fire. Played into that, oh well. We have more large creatures to get going. Here I'm just going to play out Baloth Gorger. There's really no need for me to try anything else. I just want to pressure him with more large creatures, and it's a good creature to fight with as well. So a Jund deck, so probably splashing black for Eviscerate. Here we're just going to play land. I think we're just going to attack with the 4/4. If he tries anything here, we're just going to use the fight spell. We should be okay. Alternatively, he can just use Cast Down in response. But here we still keep up our fight spell. We can play out the Skittering Surveyor, thin our deck out by land, and then eventually this Memorial to Unity can find us a creature. But he's in Dark Bargain, so he's going to lose more life. I don't think I need to Ancient Animus to 1/1 necessarily. If I see a land in the graveyard, I might consider it. Or I can just hold it up as a combat trick, which could just be better. So we'll fetch a force, and then we'll just pass. Next turn, I think I'm fine just playing out the Memorial to Unity, so maybe I can activate it eventually. And I really don't want to fight this. I don't think. Like it's a decent target to get removed because it does help him ramp. But I might just want to fight like a Deathloom Thallid or something. Like that. This is a better target. Oh my god, this is a way better target. We're gonna let that resolve, and we're gonna fight this Slimefoot end of turn. Even though the pros don't like Ancient Animus, I think it's a fine, reasonable card to have 1 or 2 copies of. Here we're just gonna play more to Unity, play our Yavimai Sapper, and hopefully we can find more playables. I'm gonna be quite upset that Memorial to Unity doesn't give us our bottoms our Helm of the Host, because we need that. Alternatively, I can maybe just find a creature off the top, cast it, or... Ooh, Daragaz. Okay, Daragaz is probably going to stay behind and play defense. I mean, if he's attacking here, he's taking a lot of damage. But now we can just play out Thorn Elemental and maybe go all in and kill him next turn. So he probably needs to keep up as many blockers as possible, so this will set Daragaz behind. Alternatively, he could have his own Ancient Animus, but he just passes here. He just knows he loses the game, so... Opponent's way far behind. But he did have a great start with the Land War Elves. I don't blame him. It's usually the person that's on the play that has the advantage, since they get to resolve the creature first, and then they can respond with their fight spells and whatnot. So usually being on the play really does matter, and it can really cost. It can really dictate the winner of the matchup, especially in a deck that's supposed to do a turn 1 Land War Elves against an opposing mirror. If you are, again, a deck that's playing lots of removal spells and not a lot of creatures that you're looking to play or ramp out, it's better to just be on draw. Okay, well, it's not an amazing hand. We do have the Helm of the Host, Skirring Surveyor to fetch a land. We just need to hit a land drop, and we're good. I think we're keeping. I'm fine just playing out the Saproling Migration on turn 2 so I can put some bodies onto the battlefield. It would suck if he can duress our hand and steal this Helm of the Host. I guess duress doesn't answer the Helm of the Host. The only thing that can actually answer the Helm of the Host is either a counter spell or Fiery Intervention, but that's only in red. So hopefully we can resolve this Helm of the Host, start equipping, making milling Saprolings, replicating all of our creatures, and just winning the game. Opponent must be deciding if he's mulliganing or not. Helm of the Host of Skirring Surveyor is also a pretty neat combo, just getting out all the lands that you need, thinning out your deck. That's always important. Opponent mulligans, okay, so I'm not in a bad spot if I don't get my land drop. Skirk Prospector, okay, so he's looking to ramp. Land is good. I can just play this tapped. I don't really need to play out Saproling Migration on turn 2. Maybe just making sure I hit my... I can play my stuff on curve is more important. Opponent passes, okay. So I guess I don't mind just playing on my Skirring Surveyor. Alternatively, I can play Land War Elves into Saproling Migration. So if I do that route, I can play the Skirring Surveyor next turn and play Land. Actually, it's the same thing almost, I think. It's more important to just thin our deck, so maybe we don't end up drawing the land that we need, but... next turn we can Land War Elves into Yavimai Sapper to Squee. Squee is in fact immortal, but I'm not scared of Squee. Here we could just Helm of the Host and start making lands next turn. Alternatively, we can play out the Land War Elves. I think I'm just going to play out the Helm of the Host here and risk it. He could have a Fire Intervention, but I think it's worth trying to equip this and just making a million Skirring Surveyors and thinning our deck. He could have a Fire Intervention, that would suck, but hey. Opponent's drafting mono red. Don't try this, guys. Don't try to draft mono colors in Dominaria. It doesn't work. This does imply he has a combat trick, so I'm going to take it. Next turn I can just equip the Skirring Surveyor, make another Skirring Surveyor, and then block it. Alternatively, what options do we have? We can play Land War Elf into Halar. We can... He could be holding up a shock or removal spell, so that can punish me. So it might be actually correct by just playing the Land War Elves here, and playing the Halar, or the Yavimai Sapper. Halar does grow if I kick it next turn to Saproling Migration, so I could just risk it here and play Halar. I just don't want to run an awkward situation where the opponent keeps up removal, and then I try to equip the Helm to the host and he responds. That'll just waste my whole entire turn. So I think I'm just fine attacking for 1. I don't think I'm playing the block with the 1-2 anytime soon. We're just going to pass our turn. And we could see like a removal spell end of turn on Halar. Radiating Lightning, okay. It's not the worst, but we are taking a shit ton of damage. Okay, Skizik kicked, okay. Do I just block Skizik? I can. I take 5 down to 8. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. We can take 5. I can just equip the Helm of the Host and just generate Halars like out of nowhere. Alternatively, I can just play out the Yavimar Sapper or just kick the Sapling Migration. I think it's now a good time to equip the Helm of the Host and just start making Halars here to hold off the 5-3. Rampaging Cyclops, not a good attacker, pretty good blocker though. Here we're just gonna force an attack here. We can just double block the Skizik. If he does have a trick, I'm gonna regret it. I guess if he has a trick, that's alright. We can always just kick the Sapling Migrations and then go off with the Helm of the Host. So he needs exactly like a removal spell here, but no. So I guess I'll just keep making a million Halars. Alternatively, I can just kick the Sapling Migrations. I think I just want to make a million Halars. Let's just do that. And that has a good double block. I guess I'll just play the Sapling. Like, I know I want to kick it, but it's important to have defense, I think. So we'll just play it out. And then we can double block the 4-4. We can hold off the 2-1. Helm of the Host will just automatically win us the game. So we definitely need to block here. So I could just block here, and I guess I want to block here, and then we can double block here, and and the creature's gonna shrink. So this is fine with me. So. Okay, that's going to trample. I guess he just wants to save his Cyclops. I mean, I still absorbed a lot of damage here. Halar's just going to keep going off. We're just going to keep making Halars. He's going to keep making Squeeze. It's going to be the same thing. So we can just play out the Yavimai Sapper here. Keep going wide. And then we're just going to pass a turn. Keep up Ancient Animus. Keep making Halars and just passing. So I don't know how the opponent's going to win unless he has a large flyer or he can get in a huge chunk of run amok damage. I can also respond to the fight by using my own Ancient Animus and fighting. Okay, opponent just passes, so I guess I don't mind just playing Grun. And we can make a million Gruns too, so let's just do that. We'll just keep making Halars. And that's how we're going to win the game. And then we'll just keep attacking the Gruns, but I guess the 2-1 can block forever. So I mean, I guess we're just going to maybe just keep making Halars and kicking them. Maybe that's just the game plan. Kelton Oversea is going to steal Halar. Who cares? That's not going to do anything. Yeah. I still control the equipment. I mean, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that mechanic works if he steals it. Maybe he could have made a Halar, but that didn't matter. We had enough blockers. We were pretty safe against his mono red deck. Yeah, don't try to draft monocolors. It doesn't work, guys. I know you can see a pack 1 pick 1 Goblin Chain Roller or a pack 1 pick 1 Vanallish Marshal, or you can have those cards passed to you, but the triple color thing is not a thing. Sure you can maybe play it, and they are good cards. But in this set, there's a lot of removal that can punish you for keeping an awkward mana base or having difficulty casting your cards. So even if you resolve the Banach Marshal, or you resolve the Dreadshade, or you resolve the Goblin Chain Whirler, or you spend a lot of time casting it, you're bound to run into removal. Not only that, but you're spending up like almost a whole entire turn casting it. Even in the late game, since the triple requirement is pretty tough, and you might be bottlenecked on mana, and you need to use the extra mana to double spell instead. So yeah, don't try it. I mean, it's just it can work, I get it, but it's not going to result in the highest win rate. Right now we're 5-0. I don't even think this deck is that great. I think it's a good deck. I think the only reason why we're winning is Helm of the Host. Without it, I think this deck might just be a 6-3 video, 6-3 draft, but. Well, no-brainer here. We keep the Helm of the Host, right? Even without the ramp. Maybe we can top deck like a ramp. But yeah, this is a no-brainer. Helm of the Host is just going to win us the game if they don't have a Fiery Intervention, or... The only ways he can win is basically to counter it, out-aggro us, or to have Fiery Intervention to answer the Helm of the Host. Here we're just going to play Corrosive Ooze. Hopefully we can resolve the Helm of the Host on turn 4. So I'm hoping he taps out on turn 4. He's probably keeping up a Syncopate. I'm going to play my red mana now. There's no reason not to play it. I know I can surprise him. He might have a Merfolk Trickster end of turn. Okay, so if he doesn't tap, okay, he taps out. So I'm quite happy with that. So now we can resolve the Helm of the Host. And we can attack him for 2. Alternatively, I can play out the Warcry Phoenix. I think I just want to play out the Helm of the Host. I think it's a more important card. And we're fine attacking for 2. And then we're just going to... Okay, that's good. I'm forcing a trade. That's very good. Forcing a trade on Rona, like a 2/2 Corrosive Ooze trading onto Rona, that's very good. He's keeping up Counterspell, yeah, if I cast a Warcry Phoenix, he can Syncopate it, so I'm going to stay back. I'm going to stay back for now, because that's obviously a Syncopate here. I don't want to get my Warcry Phoenix Syncopated. All I need to do is play a cheap creature, and we're good. Next turn I can just play out Grun, and then we can make a million Gruns. I don't think Warcry Phoenix and Ancient Animus will accomplish anything. He could always kick a Skin Witch, make me discard both of these cards, but that's fine. I can always get back my Warcry Phoenix. Let's just play land, play the Grun, and then we can start equipping the Helm of the Host onto it. And I believe even if he uses a Deep Freeze onto this, I can still keep replicating Gruns. So the opponent's in a bad shape. I mean, it's still beatable. He can still beat this, but Helm of the Host it's just a huge bomb. Like, the card is just... like whatever, and then Grunt on the battlefield whenever he attacks. It's going to it's just gonna attack him for 10 every single time. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to equip the Grun. If nothing happens, then if something bad happens, I can always Ancient Animus and fight the Cloud Reaver Sphinx before he tries anything here. We're gonna move to tax. Okay, I guess I'll let that resolve. Or I can fight. I can always fight the Cloud Reaver Sphinx. I'll just fight the Cloud Reaver Sphinx. This is fine. I want him chipping 3 damage in the air every single time. Okay, rescue. That's pretty cute. Okay. That's fine. We'll just play out Grun again. And then we're just gonna re-equip Grun. He's gonna get the Scry. Clowar Snap for sure. And an Arcane Flight, that's very cute. We'll play the land. Yeah, we'll just play Grun. Hopefully he doesn't keep bouncing this back. We're just gonna keep making 5/5s, attacking him for 10, forcing chumps. He just needs to keep bouncing our stuff back and killing us with a 4-turn clock. But he's gonna take a 4-turn clock. Okay, so he could win this. I mean, you never know. Alternatively, we can just... I guess I can always just play out Halar, and equip. Yeah, we'll just make a million Halars, why not? Or I could just play out my Warcry Phoenix, but here we're just going to make a million Halars, attacking for 3. Essentially just swarm the death of Halars. We have Fiery Intervention to answer the Cloud Reaver Sphinx. So opponent's on 3-turn clock. Maybe we can hope to kill him before he kills us with his Cold Water Snapper, of course. So next turn we can get in for 9. He might have to stay back. He can always, I guess he can always sacrifice some more to follow you to get back his Cloud Reaver Sphinx. But this turn we're definitely going to have to destroy this Cloud Reaver Sphinx. Does he have another rescue in his hand? Wizard's Retort. Okay, that's cute. Alright, I guess we'll just stay back. We'll just play out the Warcry Phoenix. And we'll just keep making Halars. And I guess we can take 5, move the Helm to the 5/6. Opponent can still win this. I mean, he's been playing up a lot of counter spells, but he's out of steam for now. Um, so we're probably just going to equip the Helm on the Warcry and keep chumping. I mean, this is an all-out attack. I'm obviously chumping the 5/6. I think if he finds a creature, then we're in trouble. So yeah, I think the opponent has this, right? Let's sack the Memorial. Let's look for something good. Grand Warlord can maybe attack in. I don't know if this is lethal, but we're just gonna go for it. This is lethal. I mean, wow. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, he got me here. That was pretty close, but yeah, just 3 off. Okay. I mean, whatever. Good job, opponent. If he didn't have the counter spell, I think we would have gotten that, but always feels good beating an opponent with Helm of the Host, of course, but you know, let's not get overconfident. The Helm of the Host is a broken card. But the opponent felt like he was kind of salty there too, so. But, you know, if he wanted that, then congrats to him. Alright, Land War Elves on turn 1, that's good. I don't know if I want to play Saproling Migration. There's no need to. I can just always play out the Skirring Surveyor, find my second forest. Hopefully there's no Shivan Fire. That would suck. He's probably contemplating on Shivan firing this Land War Elves. I mean, it's a good target. Yeah, it is. So now we're just gonna play out the Saproling Migration. Yeah, I don't think I'm kicking it this game. We'll just play out 2 1/1s. It's important to get this down early. We can Skirring Surveyor, hit our forest, play out the Memorial to Unity. So it looks like a blue-red Wizards deck. Let's find our forest. We'll play out the Memorial to Unity. If we find a 3-drop, that'll be pretty sweet off the top. Or I can save the Memorial to Unity, but I just want to cast it, I think. Opponent could just out-aggro me here using the G2 Journey Mages and crap. Yeah, we'll just play Memorial. We'll just pass. We can double block the 3/2. We're fine. He could play out an Academy Journey Mage, bounce a token, and force something here. Okay. Hopefully he doesn't find an answer to our Mammoth Spider, because we're going to need to use that as a good blocker. Just stabilize the fort. It would suck if he kills this, because he can always get back the Warcry Phoenix if he decides to attack. Probably has removal. Nope. So he's going to give us a free turn. That's not bad. Arcanist. Well, Dalliant Arcanist is pretty good. I don't know if I want to use Fiery Intervention onto this. I'm holding this off nicely. How much does this cost to kick? I guess if I get another land next turn, we're good. I could just use the Fiery Intervention now. I mean, it is consistent with our mana. Alternatively, I guess I'll just stay back. I mean, it's not bad. I don't really want to stack the land end of turn either, because I do want to maybe kick this Baloth Gorger into a 7/7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just need one more land, so I'm not going to sack the Memorial to Unity. I think having that land is more useful. We can be more greedy with our Fiery Intervention here and take out something better. In this case, I could just fire it next turn onto a G2 Journey Mage. So land is good, we can kick the Baloth Gorger. And then we can start beating down hard or forcing weird double blocks that the opponent has to make. Could have a freeze effect here, bounce effect, blink of an eye. Blink of an eye. The blink of an eye is so good in this set. The fact that you can cast these expensive cards and get them kicked just kind of sucks. This is a strange attack. This could imply that he has a removal spell. So do I block this? I mean, it's only 2 damage. We can always block it later. No blocks. That is a strange attack. Pretty strange. I can maybe just play out Grun here. Let's move the attacks with Baloth Gorger. I do want to send in 7. 7 is a lot. Opponent takes 7. I'm just hoping there's no counter spell or syncopate because I am just going to play out the Grun here. He's just too good. He can start beating down. I can take 2 per turn. I can just force him to do all these chomps. The opponent does have a lot of creatures on the battlefield, so I do want to just start getting in with Grun if I can. So that Warcry Phoenix attack does imply something. I don't know what it implies. It probably implies like another removal spell, so maybe he's planning to like attack back the turn after, bring back the Warcry Phoenix. So I could just take 2 again, use Fire Intervention on the G2 Journey Mage next turn, start beating down with Grun. Two spells in hand, so no counter spell, that's for sure. We managed to resolve Grun. Kami Journey Mage is a little bit annoying. Probably gonna bounce my Mammoth Spider here, I think, and get him for 2. We can just always recast the Mammoth Spider. Yeah, he's just gonna get him for 2. So if he doesn't bounce the Mammoth Spider, I'm definitely gonna block because that's maybe I can bait out that removal spell. That's a pretty crazy all-out attack. So what we can do is we don't even need to block the 2/2. In fact, we can block like this instead. Like, no, we're gonna block like this. This makes more sense. I don't mind just throwing the Land War Elves in front of the 3/2. I don't think there's any Anthem effects here besides Charge in this set, so I think this is good. We can take 4 because he can always get back to Warcry Phoenix. Yeah. So no favorable trades there for him. We can get him for 7 next turn. He can finish off the Mammoth Spider, sure. So he's spending his whole entire turn just to do that. So I'm going to get him for 7 here. Alternatively, I can get him for 8. Or I think I'm just going to play out Grun, of course. And then we have an option of using Fire Intervention and Fight with Fire in the future. Opponent just needs to top deck something good here, I think, like a bounce spell or a removal spell. But 7 is a lot. We're going to play out Grun. Grun is very good. Obviously, we have access to removal. We can always chump the 3/2 if he finds a bounce spell for the 5/5. So even if he does have removal or interaction, I think I'm still fine. Okay, there it is. So we're going to chump the... We're definitely going to chump the 6/3 if it decides to attack. That's fine. Oh, opponent's just going all in. Okay, so I do need to chump the 6/2. Okay. I guess this is lethal. This is a pretty crazy all-out attack. I guess he's just going to risk it. We're just going to fire intervention to 3/2. No brainer. I don't think there's anything he can respond with unless I misclick. And then this is just lethal here. Yeah. Look, the opponent does look like he has a really strong blue-red Wizards deck. He has to rely on those top decks to balance my big creatures, but of course taking all that damage isn't something you really want to do. So, alright, so final boss, we lost to one blue-black control deck. Do I want to do an overview of this deck? Yeah, I'll just do a quick overview of this deck. We're running a 16-land deck. The reason why is because we got triple Land War Elves and Elflame Druid. There's no reason to run 17. We didn't have any issues, mana issues. The mana sinks that we're trying to get going are Helm of the Host, maybe a kick to Sapling Migration on turn 6. I mean, this is only 4 mana. It's not even that much, but still 4 mana. Fight with Fire that we're kicking on turn 9. I guess Helm of the Host is also 9 mana since it's 4 mana cast, 5 to equip. Bailout Gorger is like a turn 8 kicker. Warcry Phoenix, we always painted 2 generic and red is always fine. Yeah, this is just our deck. This is most likely our curve. These are kind of the cards that we're looking to kick. I guess Grun we can always kick on turn 10. But most of the time, I think we're fine playing it out as a 6 mana 5/5, which isn't very good because it does get answered by Fiery Intervention in this set. But yeah, this is the deck. I mean, we're just running 17 lands. We do have a bunch of expensive creatures we don't mind kicking in the late game, and even then, if we don't kick it, it's always nice to have some type of mana dork to ramp you into your turn 4 plays. So yeah, currently, was it 6-1? We're actually running a Memorial to Unity 2. I don't know if this is correct, but I think it's fine. We could run into some weird situations where we do end up flooding. I know it's actually unbelievable, right? You can flood in a 16 land deck, and you might need to find a creature off the top. We are very creature heavy, running 16 creatures. But even then, we already have like Land War Elves that can give this a discount. So the Land War Elves are essentially just 3 extra lands in the deck. So, I mean, if there wasn't any Land War Elves in this deck, I think I would run 18 lands, just to give us the ability to kick. But this is supposed to be mostly a 17 land deck, minus in Land War Elves usually in Dominaria. But with this type of deck with Elfame Druid and triple Land War Elves, it's definitely going to be 16 lands. In terms of interaction, we don't have any good removal. Ancient Animus, luckily I picked one up. It's not an amazing card, but it's also not a bad card. It's not wrong main decking 1 or 2 copies of these as long as your creatures are big enough to fight. It's also pretty decent if you have legendary creatures like Halar and Grand Warlord Radha, of course, because you can get a +1/+1 counter. But don't sleep on this card. It's not super exciting, but it's a removal spell. Like, green does not have amazing removal. We all know that. In most of the other sets I've played, I think the best removal I've seen so far was in Throne of Eldraine with the Outmuscle spell, which requires an adamant ability to make your creature indestructible when it fights, but it's still a fight spell. There's still a lot of instant speed removal. There's still a lot of balance effects that can interrupt the fight spell. So green has the worst removal. We obviously know that, but having removal is better than nothing. We're using Fire Intervention as interaction. We're actually playing Gift of Growth because they can be kicked and that can benefit the Halar, and it's also a fine removal, quote unquote. Not again, pump. I don't really want to rely on pump tricks as my removal, but hey, if I don't have any removal, I'll use a pump trick. We're using Fight with Fire that we haven't kicked. I think we kicked it for 1 game. Yeah, we kicked it for 1 game, but overall it's just solid removal as well. And we're actually running 1 copy of Pierce the Sky. I know we do have double Mammoth Spider, but it is expensive. There's a lot of removal in this set. Most of the time they're going to end up removing your Mammoth Spider. So we do need some kind of alternate way to deal with their flyer if they destroy our Mammoth Spider, and we can't deal with it. So I always don't mind 1 copy of it. Alternatively, I could just run an Adventurous Impulse and cut the Pierce the Sky, but so far I haven't been having any mana issues due to these Land of War Elves, and yeah, overall this deck is pretty fun, and I'm happy to be drafting another archetype besides the best 2, i.e. Golgari Saprolings or Izzet Wizards. So Gruul Kicker is always a fun tier 2 deck, I think. It's definitely not tier 1. The thing is, it does require you do need a lot of good payoffs for it. You need a lot of ramp to set up for it. You need some powerful rares like Helm of the Host and Grand Warlord Radha to go over the top. But overall, I mean, it's a good deck. It's fine. It's just that Wizards have a lot more synergy in this set in Saprolings because most of the best because you can build an amazing Saproling decks with like one good uncommon, and then nothing but commons, and the same can be said with Wizards. You can just draft a million G2 Journey Mages, ping the opponent to death, play a bunch of Kami Journey Mages, bounce your stuff back, attack. So those are usually the best decks. The best decks are the ones that have amazing cards at common that you can that perform over top here. This hand is not amazing. I do have a Sapperling Migration into Baloth Gorger. I'm on the play, so I don't really want to go down anything. We're running 16 lands. I think I'm going to risk it here. This is our final boss. Hopefully we can, could be another Dimir deck that'll counter our Helm of Hosts, who knows. We'll leave with a Sapperling Migration, nothing amazing. We got turn 4 to play the Baloth Gorger, Voldalian Arcanist, okay. So that's going to put a halt to our game plan for now, so no attacks. Could be running a Syncopate for one. Do I run into Syncopate? I don't really want to get my Warcry Phoenix countered, but I'm fine with my Baloth Gorger being countered. I have to play that. I debate out the Syncopate eventually, but no counter. So now this is start swinging in. I have access to Fire Intervention next turn, or I can just play out Warcry Phoenix and deal even more damage. Warcry Phoenix is quite nice because I have these Sapperlings that can reanimate it, so to speak. Short Sword, you don't really want to play that in the deck with Voldalian Arcanist. Let me tell you about Voldalian Arcanist. Voldalian Arcanist is a good card. In a spells deck, obviously, with lots of instants and sorceries, and it's good. I don't mind playing one copy of Voldalian Arcanist in like an aggressive blue-red spells deck, but it's more of a card that you want to play in a like a more controlling blue deck where you're trying to ramp out very expensive instants and sorceries. Here we're just gonna be mana efficient, play out Mammoth Spider. There's no need to play Warcry Phoenix. We're not here to race him. We're just here to just use up our mana as efficiently as possible. Here I can use Fire Intervention on the Academy Journey Mage and get an attack. Alternatively, I can just play out the Warcry Phoenix and attack. Or I can just play out the Baloth Gorger. I mean, I guess the Baloth Gorger doesn't have a good attack unless I use removal, so I think I just play out the Warcry Phoenix here. I'll just hold the blocker, attack for 2. I'll keep chipping in for 2. I have a good blocker. He needs to answer the Warcry Phoenix with like a Deep Freeze or something. We can start developing the Baloth Gorger. And if we top deck a land in our 16 land deck and reach 7 lands, I know it's amazing. We can play out the Thorn Elemental. We could run into a Syncopate. So do I want... I guess this plays around Syncopate for 1 anyways. So we might as well just cast the Baloth Gorger. And I should tap efficiently too. I don't know why the auto tapper does that to me all the time. Yeah, and it's another good ground blocker. He can ping us with the Geechi Journey Mages, but our 4 and 5 toughness definitely holds them back from doing any amazing attacks. And Bullet's Clutches is very good. We'll just Fire Intervention, maybe our own Mammoth Spider, and get in. Alternatively, I can just play out Thorn Elemental. Maybe that's just better. I don't want to attack my 4/4, that's not going to accomplish anything. We probably just need to answer the Mammoth Spider with a Fire Intervention, and then go in for an attack in the air and a Thorn Elemental. Maybe prompt some sort of triple block or something. Or I can just keep this back, like, it's not wrong keeping it back. He's going to get back Opt, which isn't useful. So right now I think I'm just going to use the Fire Intervention on the 3/5, Oh, I guess we can always again play out the Skittering Sprayer first. So let's not be noobs here. Let's get our land, get our red source because we need 2 red sources eventually. We'll play out the red. We use Fire Intervention on our own 3/5. It sucks. He 2-for-1'd us. Now this is officially a 3-for-1 because we have to use removal on this. And I'm just gonna attack him to the 2/2. I can also just attack him to Thorn Elemental, but he can always swing back. But we can always attack on. We'll just attack him for lethal. We'll just use it as a ground blocker for now. Valduke, unfortunately there's no auras, unless he wants an Arcane Flight. Sure, he makes a 3/1, we'll just block the 3/1. It's forced attack, right? I guess he has it exiled, so... Still not in good shape. He needs to find a way to bounce my Warcry Phoenix. I mean, bounce my Thorn Elemental, otherwise it's lethal in 2 turns, and here's our favorite card, Helm of the Host. Unfortunately, we can't equip it, otherwise we would essentially just win the game by equipping the Thorn Elemental. But we can always attack for 2 in the air. We'll stay back. We don't need to be aggressive here. We're not in the need to be aggressive. We can equip Helm of the Host onto the Thorn Elemental next turn, and then we can just win. We can also afford to take some hits too. I think it's just game over here. Opponent needs to go for an all-out attack. He doesn't have enough instants and sorceries in the deck. We can afford to take 6 from Valduke. I guess he can make 2 copies of those, but I can definitely take 6 from Valduke. And I can just block everything else. I don't know if he has it. there's only rescue for 1 man that I can imagine. That's the only weird combat trick you can play. There's no like chain to memory in this set. Okay, there we go. A nice 7-1 video. Lost to a Dimir control deck. But we had Helm the host in that deck, so well played, opponent. Yeah, the one who beated me. Yeah. So yeah, let's put this as our thumbnail. Take a snapshot. And claim our prize. And let's pretend we're drafting some Dominaria. Pack 1, pick 1. What do we have to find? Pleasure of opening. Let's see. Ariel is broken. Obviously, it's always good to play her, you know, in like a white-black historic deck, and that's looking to be very aggressive. Is looking to play lots of knights, but even then, I guess you can splash Ariel if you're in one of the colors. It's not difficult to splash if you pick up a Skittering Surveyor, or you're drafting green-black or green-white. You can always Tech in the Plains or a Swamp, splash Ariel, then apparently, and then essentially she can just generate a bunch of tokens constantly, and then she can essentially just kill anything as long as you have enough night creatures. So Ariel is pretty broken, an easy first pick rare. Although it is gold color, it's definitely worth first picking over a common that you can always get in later packs. But Ariel is, yeah, obviously the pick here. Charm Gerard, not very impressed by this. I will definitely play it if I was an aggressive white deck. And I just need to get in a ton of damage, since the third chapter is really what's the most important aspect, since he also gains Flying First Strike and Lifelink to help you race and get in a bunch of damage. But overall, I'm not very impressed by this card. It's just a little bit too slow sometimes. They can kill your... You might put a counter on the best creature you control, but hey, this is a set with lots of removal, lots of interaction. They can bounce the creature, they can kill it, and then the chapter 1 is essentially just irrelevant, and then you have to rely on chapter 2 giving the counter to like your second creature with the greatest power. So I don't mind trying for Gerard in an aggressive deck, but again, white is the worst color in Dominaria. Not saying it's a bad color; it's a very good color. If you have cards like Ariel, if you're aggressive, if you have lots of flyers, lots of go wide synergies, lots of removal like Blessed Light, white is a good color. Don't get me wrong. And white might be the worst, but I would still consider it a tier 2 type of color. Because I don't think any color in this set is tier 3. I think they're all pretty good. Tier 3 would be something like in Core Set 2021. I think green would be green and black would be the tier 3 colors, but in this set, white's a good color. Don't sleep on it. You know, you can definitely steal some games with Pegasus Coursers, lots of removals, and if you're able to go wide and pick up bombs like Ariel, your deck will definitely draft white. Don't avoid white, but blue is the best color. Other great cards in this pack are Wizard's Retort for the Wizards deck, and Divination is just an excellent blue common, probably the third best blue common. There's a lot of good blue commons in this set. Blink of an Eye, definitely the best one. Cloud Reader Sphinx, and then you have stuff like Divination, but definitely taking Ariel here. Now, these cards are all bad. Please throw this pack away. Don't just pass this pack. Don't even take a card, or take the Vidalian Arcanist. I don't know if you're trying to ramp out with instances and sorceries. Phyrexian Scripture, powerful bomb. Essentially just a board sweep where you keep your best creature, unless they kill it, of course. Sure, I mean, you're still putting a 1/1 counter onto the creature that you want to save, of course. The opponent could kill it, of course, on their turn, but if they can't, hey, you wipe your entire board. You keep the best creature that you want. You can attack with it. This card is insane, and then the exile portion is really relevant against in this set, since D2 Chronicler can always get back their best removal spell on turn 6. There's Soul Salvage in black. Rona can exile stuff. I mean, I guess, yeah, no. I guess there's not too much reanimation and graveyard shenanigans in this set, but it's still pretty good exiling the opponent's graveyard to prevent any recursion spells from happening, like Soul Salvage and Key to Chronicler. So Varric's Inscription is a powerful bomb, easy first pick, set up a nice black control deck. Imbola's Clutches is one of those excellent uncommons in the set, quote-unquote mythic uncommons. Like, we saw it in the final game where the person stole our spider and we were forced to use a removal spell on it. I mean, it's already a 2-for-1. You kill a creature, you gain a creature, and then the fact that they might be prompt to use a removal spell on their own creature is already an insane 3-for-1. Imbola's Clutches is an insane card, very excellent card in this set. Usually 6 mana to control a creature is a lot, but this set tends to be very long and grindy, so it's fine having removal spells like this. And yeah, this card is just really good. Other good cards include Merfolk Trickster for the Wizards deck, powerful Tempo play. You can tap their biggest blocker down, get in for attack, or if they're playing a creature with some unique ability, you can use this to maybe tap down a flyer when it's attacking, block the flyer, tap down a creature that requires some sort of that has an ability that has a power like a power pump ability or a toughness pump ability. I don't know. You can always flash this in, lock down a creature, maybe get a free kill, or even or even just trade, of course. Or you can use this to play defense when they're about to move to combat. You can tap down their biggest attacker. Merfolk Trickster is a good card. It is double blue, of course, but that's not a big deal. You can always just run 9/8, and Merfolk Trickster can always be fine in the late game, in the mid game, in the early game, but easy in Imbola's Clutches. Unfortunately, these legendary sorceries can be good, but they require a lot of work, and Karn's Temple Sundering is definitely not one of them I want to do. I mean, if you can get going, hey, you bounce the best creature back, you take an extra turn, voila, but it takes a lot of setup. Why not just use a removal spell and just kill the creature? I mean, for 6 mana, this is a lot, and also you also do need to have a legendary creature or planeswalker, which is more of a thing that you do in white, not something you would necessarily do in blue. But it's always worth experimenting. You know, Karn's Temporal Sundering is a good card if you can get to work. But usually, the legendary sorceries, there's better legendary sorceries like Yawgmoth's Vials Offering in black, which it actually kills a creature and brings a creature back from a graveyard to the battlefield. So it's essentially a powerful 2-for-1. This is also 2-for-1. You bounce a creature, you draw a card, you draw an extra card. Actually, it's not really 2-for-1 because you don't really kill their creature, but you do set them back behind, and you do draw cards. So it's essentially an expensive blink of an eye, so to speak, where the opponent doesn't get an extra turn. Obviously, it is better than Blink of an Eye, but Blink of an Eye is a much more solid, efficient card, so I can make an argument that Blink of an Eye is much better than Karn's Temporal Sundering. But I mean, what else is there? There's Jaya's Immolating Inferno. There's Urza's Ruinous Blast, which is excellent because in white you're playing lots of legendary creatures, so you can pull that one off pretty easily. And then the green one has to be the worst. Don't ever do the green legendary sorcery. But in this pack one pick one, I'll probably take a Seal Away. Even though it only exiles target tapped creatures and opponent controls, it's always nice to use this against an opponent's flyer in the late game. It's very cheap, it's very efficient. This is not the format where you're not. There's not the format where you're always supposed to attack unless you're facing against. I mean, unless you're playing white, of course. So Seal Away, I guess, is pretty good if this is not the format where you're always forced to attack, because the opponent will just attack with their best creature. You can always exile it, etc. But these cards then tend to do better in formats where everyone's always trying to attack you, like in Course of 2021. Swift Response is a good card to even main deck and an aggro deck because everyone's always trying to attack you, everyone's always trying to race you. So cards like Seal Away and Swift Response, where it only deals with target tap creatures, are pretty good. And this is also splash and instant speed. So let's say the opponent has a creature like Rona, they're looking to use an activate ability and tap. You can always just play this in response and exile it away. But other good commons, there's Gitu Chronicler as an excellent 6-drop that can get you your best removal spell or card draw spell, whatever you want. But it is a late game card. Sure, you can play this out on turn 2 as a 1/3 body, but it's not going to be at its best in an aggressive Wizards archetype. I wouldn't mind playing this as a replacement over Vodalian Arcanist in an aggressive Wizards archetype. But this is kind of like insurance to the late game, I guess, if you're playing an aggressive Wizards deck to get back your best instances sorcery. There's also Ancient Animus. Don't sleep on this. I know it's not great in the set, but it's a fine card. If you need removal, you need removal. Green creatures tend to be big. You might pick up a legendary, it might get a counter. So don't sleep on this card. It's a fine card in main deck, as you saw from our draft. Tishar is okay. Again, white is not the best color. 4-mana 2/2 is not an amazing body. And usually getting back a creature with mana cost 3 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield isn't super exciting unless it's something like Danitha. But yeah, I mean, the problem with the historic thing is that it's not too easy to trigger it. I mean, usually the historic deck is in tier 1. And if you do trigger this, yeah, you get a small creature back. Yeah, that's good, but it's not super impressive, I don't think. And a 4-mana 2/2 is not an amazing buy. This thing dies to Shivan Fire, it dies to Vicious Offering, it dies to a lot of removal spells, like cheap interactive removal spells. So you're essentially paying 4 mana to just get killed by trade down with a 1 mana or 2 mana removal spell. So I would kindly play this in the white aggressive deck with lots of creatures where I can just bring them back and reanimate them whenever I cast a historic spell. But it's not a first pick quality card, I don't think. I think Tishar is okay, but not super amazing. Time of Ice, on the other hand, is a very amazing card. You can play it aggressively. You can play it in any nice defensive blue deck as well to buy yourself a lot of time. And then, hey, in blue, you have Blink of an Eye, so when the third chapter is about to resolve, you just cast your Blink of an Eye, bounce the Time of Ice back again, and then recur to shenanigans over and over again. Blue is a very powerful color in this set. Blue is absolutely amazing. And then black, green, red are kind of close. I think black would come in a close second. And then white, obviously, the worst. But at common, we do see the best card, Blessed Lights, an excellent removal spell in white. The Exile is really nice since it can deal with cards like Multani. It can deal with other legendary creatures or creatures with hexproof. With indestructible. Sorry, not hexproof, but indestructible. Which I don't. There's probably none in this set, but white needed a spell like this, to be honest. If white did not have Blessed Light, I think white would probably be just unplayable in the set, to be honest. Blessed Light at common is what white needed, and at least they can deal with Multani, and that's quite good. So Blessed Light, easy Blessed Light. For common, of course, but at uncommon, Time of Ice. Okay, Course at 2021. What do we have here? Heroic Invention is not a bad card. It's pretty decent. Giving our creatures hexproof and indestructible is quite nice. So if you're going for an all-out attack and you're not behind on life, you can always use a Heroic Intervention to just get your most valuable to get an attack. And if the opponent makes their valuable blocks and decisions, you can always just save your creatures from Heroic Intervention. Or alternatively, if you're far behind and the opponent is trying to attack you, which always happens in the course of 2021 because it's hyper aggressive, you can activate this, blow your opponent out by making the best blocks and killing your stuff. So don't sleep on Heroic Intervention. It's a good card, but I don't know if I would first pick it. I think the first pick in this pack is actually Grasp of Darkness. I know blue-red or Experimental Overload. Blue-red spells is considerably a better archetype. It might be even considered the best archetype. So it might just be Experimental Overload over Grasp of Darkness, but Grasp of Darkness is the best common overall. Feat of Resistance is also quite close, but usually I prefer having a solid removal spell over a protection spell. Feat of Resistance is also one of the best white commons too. Overperforms in a set because white has the best commons and really excellent commons too. And Feat of Resistance can protect them. And yeah, white is so the problem with white in the set is that the commons are so good, the creatures are so aggressive that they didn't need a card like Feat of Resistance to protect them. Like, that's fine, give a creature a +1/+1 counter, but don't make it dodge a removal spell like Grasp of Darkness or like Finishing Blow at 5 mana. That just sucks. I mean, white is just so good. They didn't need Feat of Resistance, honestly. I think they have enough threats. They have enough flyers. They have enough threats. They have enough ways, double strikers. They have enough like life gain. They have enough ways to enhance creatures. They have enough +1/+1 counter synergies and whatnot. They didn't need a Feat of Resistance. I think this card is pretty overpowered if you're already drafting white. But I'll probably just take a Grasp of Darkness over it because solid removal is good, and black is not an unplayable color in N21. It's a tier 2 color. Um, it still has solid removal. It has solid The commons are definitely a lot worse than white. And red, especially the removal. But it's still a good archetype if you can assemble the pieces and you get to find payoffs. So I would probably take an experimental overload pack one, pick one, because this is a powerful payoff card for the arguably the best archetype in the entire set. It might not be white colored, but it's considered tier one. Where you can, it's essentially just another shipwreck dowser. Since you're making a creature, you're getting your best instant or removal spell, and it might even have the option of, it might even be bigger than a shipwreck dowser, since if you're playing more than 3 instances of sorceries, it can become a 4/4 or a 5/5 instead of a 3/3 that needs to gain prowess. But it's essentially a 4 mana shipwreck dowser, so that's really good. So I'll probably take an experimental overload and kind of take a gamble here. But the more flexible, powerful pick would always be the Grasp of Darkness. Yeah, 2 double black, give a creature -4/-4. That's really good. But it's really just between these 2 cards. So yeah, I'm always a risky gambler. Let's take the experimental overload. Could get punished, but there you go. Another nice 7-win video in a new archetype that we have yet to explore. Hopefully, we can end up drafting a nice blue-black control deck in the next Dominaria draft, since I'm a big fan of that archetype. But of course, it's always the Saprolings and the Wizards that have the most synergy. But in the meantime, stay safe, guys. Wear your mask, and enjoy my Magic content and improve your draft experiences. And have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.